hit it. Microphone check. Baby, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls,
you are now rocking with the best.
It's not some
Baby. One time.
still shining.
Respect my swag.
It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing.
And this is
Another episode.
a Swingers
After dark. What time is it? It's time to get live.
and this is your host. Not some baby.
Let's go, champ.
Microphone chicka check 1 2 1 2. This is your host, not some baby, and this is another episode of Swingers After Dark. And I'm talking to the poly coach, straight out of Shot City. We don't say Shot Town. We don't say Shot Town. It's Shot City, baby.
Yo.
Yes,
We don't say Shot Town as much, but we definitely say Shot City. Too many people messed up the word Shot Town, and we just like, oh, okay, all right, we in Shot City, we in Chicago.
Yeah. That's so 90s, you know. Shot Town is so 90s.
It is. But I love it. You know, Chicago, I love it. I can't wait to come to New York. I've only been once. Definitely learned that I will not be renting a car when I come out there either. That is the last thing I'm gonna be doing.
You know what's crazy? When I went to, I went to college in New York, and that was around the time Love Jones came out. And this is how powerful the media is. Every chick was like, oh, I want to go to Chicago because I love Jones. This, that, and the third. I want to go to Chicago, love Jones. And all that changed when Chirac came out. When the movie Chirac came out, it was like, I don't want to go to Chicago. so it went from this image of Chicago being cultured, which it is, to bang, 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 shoot 'em up. And you have both elements, but it's funny how when one element of a city is highlighted, it can either make or break the perception of the city. You know what I'm saying? So it's like one minute I want to go to Chicago, next minute I don't. And it's crazy because I remember I was walking down the street and the security guard was mugging me, like this bouncer. And I was shooting the shit with him. And then I was like, man, I'm from Chicago. I don't know how it started. But I was like, man, I'm from Chicago. And he was like his whole face lit up with glee. Like he was happy. He was like, yo, word? Yo, is that Chirac shit true? Do they really call it Chirac? I was like, so it went from me mugging me to being on some groupie shit. He was like, yo, word, Chicago? Yo, are they really on that Chirac shit? Like, what?
Wow, that makes sense though. It definitely makes sense. If you haven't been here, then it's only what you see in the art, right? But then y'all come out here and you be like, ooh, Chicago got amazing food. Oh, people in Chicago's actually talk to you. Oh my gosh, it's nice out here. Just don't come out here in February, y'all. Don't come out here in February. It's too damn cold. No, we don't need to come outside in February.
But you should come out to the Office event.
Absolutely. Because that's the one thing you talk about, how what people perception is of Chicago. We want to let y'all know that we get sexy in Chicago. Definitely with the Office E.N.T, throwing black poly-minded swinger events and trying to give a new view and look at how swinger parties can be.
Yeah, because y'all have some nice looking biddies in that joint. You know what I'm saying? Y'all have some nice looking chicks. And the Office. How long the Office E.N.T, the Office Entertainment, been in existence?
I started the Office E.N.T back in 2020, actually, believe it or not. During the pandemic year. It's technically started in 2019, but I was practicing. Like, you know how you just be practicing, you don't really actually go official. Mm-hmm. But 2020, I was ready to go official, and I threw a tent party. So instead of having people in the house because, COVID, so what we did is we rented out a spot that had a large yard, and we put tents outside and had beds inside the tent and put tiki torches up. And so the whole party was outside, and you get to have your fun in a tent while watching the stars. Oh man, it was so beautiful.
Now the group came a long way. The Office E.N.T came a long way, because when you initially started, I don't know who added me to your group, but when you initially started, I was like, here go another LS group. But then after a while, I'm like, okay, word, okay, they getting their weight up, they getting their weight up. You becoming noticed now. So how did you build up your group from the ground up instead of the top down?
I made sure I had a very dedicated team with me. Because just because you have an amazing vision, it doesn't mean that you're going to be the only person that helps see it through. You know what I mean? And my admin team in the office, and especially my partner, oh my God, she's so amazing. That's the best partner I could ever have in my life.
Now, how do you pronounce her name?
Her name is Ronke.
Oh, see, I was gonna butcher the name. I was gonna say Ronky. You know what I'm saying? I was gonna say Ronky, but that's why I wanted to ask you so I could get it right.
Yes. Her name is Ronke. She is my amazing fiance, soon to be wife, and she is a very great partner when it comes to the Office E.N.T. When I first started, I was by myself, so doing house parties and growing. But then as I started to grow my team and find people who seen the same vision as me, we just started to do a lot better. And then I started to hire a marketing team, and then it just started to get even better.
So how did you and Ronke meet?
I actually met Ronke on Tinder, believe it or not. Now, and it's so crazy because when a lot of people talk about open relationships and finding a partner, they always think that they have to go to an open relationship app, right? You think that, let me find that specific website or group that I can join so I can find a like-minded person. But the thing is, there's so many people out here that's like-minded, they just never had the opportunity to have someone to talk about it to, right? In that open space. And so I met my fiance on Tinder, and we had a whole conversation about it. It took her about 3 months to be like, I don't know. But afterwards, tried it out, and we've been together ever since.
You know what makes your group stand out the most is that you have newbie nights. You have the newbie nights. I think that's dope.
Thank you.
The newbie, because the newbies get a bad rap because not for nothing, it's not the newbies that's causing dissension in the lifestyle. It's the damn vets, because the newbies can only do what's allowed. They don't have any influence, but it's really the vets. If the vets are not on point, then the newbies are going to follow suit because they think that's the blueprint. So I commend you for having a newbie night and having discussions and going on live on your page and in your group. Ladies and gentlemen, the Poly Coaches Facebook page is called Love Isn't Enough. So we're going to get to that later. So what made you come out, have a staple? Because not for nothing, your group is the only group, to my knowledge, that only have consistent newbie nights.
Yes.
So what made you come up with a newbie night?
When I first came into the lifestyle, I was fortunate enough to have someone who was veteran in it, and she kind of walked me through it. But after like 2 or 3 walkthroughs, she was like, okay, have fun. And so a lot of things I had to learn the hard way, or I had to learn it in just most embarrassing situations. And so I wanted to make sure that the people coming in didn't have that type of experience. I wanted to make sure that, first of all, you have a safe place on Facebook you can go to ask questions, post your concerns, and learn what you can learn. Second thing is, we always try to make sure we do a meet and greet before newbie night so that they can come out, meet us, kind of get comfortable with us, and determine if it's really what they want to do. And then on newbie night, because it is a newbie night, I wanted to make sure it's one of them nights where we don't really focus on the swinging and more about the etiquette of going to the parties and working with them and walking them through it and letting them have that opportunity to be like, okay, this is what's up. I mean, people will get down when they get down, but we don't want to push that pressure out there. What we want to do is give them that atmosphere to come to the club, see what it's like, get an understanding of it, and then have a great conversation piece to go home and talk about to determine if this is what's really for them.
So what all consists of a newbie night? Did you explain it in its entirety? It's like, what should I expect if I come to a newbie night?
So when you come in during a newbie night, the first thing is you're going to get greeted by me, because I always try to stay at the front door. And I kind of walk through a brush of the rules, just a little bit of outstanding things that need to be talked about. But as you come in as a newbie, you're going to see one of our admin staff, and you can always walk up to them and ask them questions. Even some of the vets work with us to talk to newbies, make them feel comfortable, give them a tour. So you're going to definitely get a tour. You get to see everything. And as you're getting the tour, we're going to talk to you about proper etiquette, things to do, what not to do, just to make sure you have a great understanding of, okay, now I kind of get some rules and I got the ground rules down pat. And then after that, it's more about enjoying yourself, meeting new people. We're going to have food there. And then if you decide you want to go have fun, that time will open up all the doors and you can have fun.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the Office E.N.T, the Office Entertainment. Now, another thing that I'm digging is Sexomania, couples versus unicorns.
Oh my God, that was so beautiful. Oh, it was so beautiful. Sexomania was like one of the moments where you think of a painting, and when you finally paint it out and you get to look at the idea you had in your mind, you get to sit back and be like, yes, this is exactly what I was thinking in my head.
So, listen, you got some dope themes. I love that. I love those themes, you know, Newbie Night and Sexomania, but also I love how you incorporate knowledge, because the one thing I commend the BDSM community for doing is they stress education. It's all about education, but in a swingers lifestyle, you don't really have that. You know,
No.
You have education in poly and BDSM, but in swinging, it's just carnal. So talk about what led you to go on live and speak about certain issues in the lifestyle, and also your upcoming event that's called The Talk in April 7th.
Hey, absolutely. So, and thank you for asking. So, when it comes to education, first of all, every event that I used to go to and every other organization I went to, education was either low or non-existent. And usually that's because the leaders of the group wasn't really focused on that mindset. They were just focused on other things. And it takes a lot of patience to educate. It's not like something where you can just be like, all right, let me bring people in and let me teach them the rules and then walk away from it. No, it has to be continuous. Like this is something you got to actually put time into. And so during the time that I was starting the Office E.N.T, I was actually going into the pursuit of getting my certification into being a life coach. And so while I was going into life coaching, learning about the business, learning about how to do the job, I started to look more into what my niche was. And poly is my niche. And so the Office E.N.T became a great way for me to be vocal of my coaching while being able to coach what I actually love to coach people on, which is party etiquette and love. And so that's what's inspired the event that's coming up in April. Now, the event in April, The Talk, is something that I have been working on for a while. I've had like a group of people help me out with this. And so basically what this is imagine that you and your partner can come to a sex club. And when you come to the sex club, you're going to have a love coach, a sex coach, a sex therapist, an aftercare specialist, and a BDSM coach that is going to help walk you through how to have a better intimacy experience with your partner. And even if you don't have a partner, you get to come by yourself and still work with these coaches. We have different things set up. So when you come in, we got beds that's already there because it's a sex club. And so we're going to have instructions, things that you can work on. But in all seriousness, it's to teach you about BDSM control, learn what sex should be like, how to communicate, how to have great sex. That's one of the top things. One of the top things that stops us from having great sex is we don't communicate it before having sex. It's like some weird taboo. Like we just be like, all right, well, let me try it out and let's see if you like it or not. And then be so confused when it's trash, because you be like, well, I mean, you didn't know this person. Y'all didn't have no conversation about likes or not likes. So we talk a lot about sexual communication and how to talk about what your expectations are when you have sex with someone.
How did you and Ron Key?
Yes, Ron K.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Ron K. I got
No,
it.
you
Wait,
good.
no. I got this. How I memorize things. I memorize things through association. So you said Ron K, I could remember that it rhymes with Jackie.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
That's one way.
Yeah, so that's how I can remember. So okay, I got it now. Ron K. So did you and Ron K have a sit down? How did you have that talk? You know, that talk that every couple have, whether they're a swinging couple or a polyamory couple or a poly couple, excuse me, because the lifestyle, it could magnify and amplify everything that's messed up about your relationship. If the house is not on point, if it's on quicksand, it's gonna go to sewer level. So how is that talk, and how did you build your foundation?
Okay, so great question.
Because not to cut you off, brother, because you're the face of the group.
Absolutely.
So you may have chicks, and that happened to me too, because I was in a relationship with a group owner, with a well-known group owner, and female group owners, we call them swing queens, and that was chicks who would purposely do stuff or say stuff to her that would break us up, or they would try to fuck me out of spite just because I was with her. So how do you deal with that, and how can you siphon if a chick has good intentions of wanting to play with you, or even in general, like dudes, you know, a lot of people in the lifestyle is beautiful, but it could be ugly at the same time. So how could you separate the two? And when you had those talks or that talk with Ron K, what did that talk consist of?
Okay, so let's focus on the talk and the foundation first. So the foundation of any poly relationship has to be the same as the foundation of a one-on-one relationship, which is that all relationships must have set boundaries. So me and her talked about what are our boundaries, and that's basically what cheating is. When you cheat on someone, you basically go over the boundary rules of the relationship. And so for her and me, we need to talk about, what are you comfortable with? Because that's how you set boundaries. What are you comfortable with? What are you not comfortable with? Because then let's set those boundaries now, and then let's talk about it later in the future to see if those are still boundaries that should be set. And so for me and her, we set our boundaries of transparency is key, protection is always, no family, no friends. And if we are going to have a threesome, we need to take her out on a date first before we engage in having any type of sexual relations with the person.
Yeah, because, you know, a lot of people think that polyamory is going to eliminate cheating, but it's not the dynamic. You could be monogamous and cheat, and you could be polyamorous and cheat. You could
definitely be polyamorous and cheat.
So it's all about the character of the person. It's about the character of the person instead of the dynamic.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because if you're a piece of shit in monogamy, you're gonna be a piece of shit in polyamory. So what difference does it make?
Absolutely. You know that, because you know you run into that, right?
Yeah.
And
so I always say that the Mount Rushmore, and I want you to elaborate if you agree or disagree, the Mount Rushmore of a healthy relationship is truth, honesty, communication, and respect. And if you agree with that, how do you incorporate those tenets into your relationship as a poly couple?
Okay, so I do agree with that. And we're going to stick to the communication part, because I told you about the foundation. Now we're going to talk about how we keep it together, right? And so what I instituted in our relationship, and which I feel like everyone should institute, is 3-month check-ins. Now, me and her have done 3-month check-ins so much that now we don't need to do it every 3 months. We do it every 6 months. But what these check-ins consist of are specific questions tied into understanding if there are any ambiguities within the relationship. So, for instance, me and her, our questions are: 1, are you happy? 2, am I impeding upon your happiness? 3, based on the work that we've been working on in the past 3 months, do you feel like I've been working on past issues? What new issues do you feel like we need to address and talk about? Do you feel like the boundary rules that we have set in the very beginning of the relationship should still set true now? And is there anything new you want to add? And then what are the future goals that you want us both to accomplish together in the next 3 months? And then the last question for ourselves is, do you still feel that this relationship is working? or do you feel like there needs to be some type of improvement, and we need to end the relationship? And then whatever other miscellaneous questions are going to come after that, that's just based on the things that you want to know to get clarity on in the relationship. But if you think about it, when you're with somebody, your goal is to get promoted. Your goal is to become married to this person. And so just like at a job, when you need to talk to your boss every 6 months to talk about raises and promotions, you need to do the same thing with your partner, because y'all are partners. Partners of businesses check in more than people in relationships, and it blows my mind.
And you know what? Well, I thought another dope theme that you hosted with your group with the Office E.N.T. is the silent party in the forest. I think that's hot. I've never seen that. I've been to a silent party, but not a silent party in the forest. I think who came up with the idea?
So I came up with that while I was getting my hair cut from my barber, because my barber just looked at me and was like, "Hey, you throw parties, right?" I was like, "Yeah." And I was going to just host a party in the woods, because remember I told you my tent party in 2020, that one was so great that it kept making, like, every time I would host another tent party, it would just be more and more people. So my goal in the beginning was to just throw another tent party, but just in the forest. And so I'm getting my hair cut by my barber, and he's like, "Hey, you throw parties, right?" "Yeah." "You know I got silent headphones." And he told me the price of it. And I was like, "Per person?" He was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh man, that would be dope if we mixed those two together." And so I found the right DJ for it, DJ High Speed. Shout out to High Speed.
That's my man.
Yes. So when I tell you DJ High Speed came and killed it, I mean, that man came and played on all 3 stations, okay? That man was on all 3 stations at once, and you heard that man speak on all 3 stations. I was like, yeah, ain't nobody messing with this man right now. This man is killing it. So it became like a dope event. I didn't get to have it last year, but we are doing it again this year, and it is going to be in June.
Okay, so you got the Office E.N.T. and talk about how do you incorporate the poly coach. Well, before we get into that, what are the boundaries? Expand on the topic of setting boundaries as a couple, because like I said, you may have people who don't have your best interests at heart. You have a lot of envious people, a lot of jealousy out there, and I don't want to put a damper on the lifestyle, but you're gonna come across sharks. You feel me? You're gonna come across, the scavengers and the vultures. So what was that sit down like on the other side of having boundaries to make sure that people are not trying to wreck your home because misery loves company?
Okay, so the first thing is, it wasn't really so much of a requirement of what me and my fiance talked about that would stop me from the so-called vultures. It was more of me being able to have discipline with myself to know the red flags when a person would try to talk to me. So for example, somebody would hit me up in my inbox, be like, "Hey, is it okay to communicate?" Sure. We'll start talking on the phone. And then when I hear her say something like, "I just don't know how she could share you, because I could never share a man," right? But in the same breath, you're talking to a shared man with the interest of sharing this man. So now my mind is just, at that point, just throwing off ring bells like, "Hey, red flags." So now I need to hit her up like, "Hey, what does that mean to you? What does it mean to share? Because that might be an issue here." And so then discipline, right? Because I might want to smash. I may want to take her out. I might want to spend time with her, right? But just because I want to, knowing that this person may endanger what I have, there's no reason for me to move forward. And so for the most case, when it comes to worrying about existential threats to your own relationship, it's all about your own self-discipline. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what I say to my fiance. If people are going to try to talk to me, they're going to try to talk to me. And so I need to have the wherewithal with myself to have the discipline to say it's not worth losing what I got. Because I can tell you right now, the love that I have for my wife, I'm not losing that. I'm not losing that over anybody and anything.
What inspired you to incorporate becoming a life coach? Well, incorporate, your background as a life coach and present yourself as, the poly coach and the love coach to incorporate your knowledge, wisdom, and understanding into the lifestyle? What gave you that inspiration to bring forth, to drop jewels amongst the people in the lifestyle?
What's so interesting about that is I never planned on it to be the same thing. I have this company I created called Copacetic Coaching, and that is still now.
But it's not to cut you off, but
yeah,
copacetic is one of my favorite words. Anyway, keep going.
Absolutely, that's my favorite word. I love copacetic, and so my coaching business is called Copacetic Coaching. I started that back in maybe I want to say 2018, 2017. And copacetic coaching was where I was getting my practice going live, talking about things, learning how to see myself in the camera. But my goal was to get clients. The unfortunate thing with copacetic coaching was it wasn't working. There was no medium that I could bring people to be like, hey, let me introduce yourselves to me. But then as I started doing the office and the office started to become more successful with the parties, there was an incident at one of the parties due to someone not having the knowledge of what they needed to make sure that the incident didn't happen in the first place. And it was a harmless incident, but it could have been worse. And so it was at that time that I realized, okay, if I'm going to have new people keep coming to these events, there needs to be a better way to acclimate them into this lifestyle so that they don't mess things up. And so then that's when I was like, well, let me try it. Because at first I was held back because I didn't want to be publicly open as a person in a non-monogamous relationship. But then I had a conversation with some mentors and I thought to myself, why the fuck do I care? So then at that point, I just tried it. And it started to gain momentum. And then I was just like, well, I guess this is the thing now. It's actually working. It's helping grow. It's helping people feel more comfortable about wanting to come out, which I was excited about, because usually when you go to swinger parties, all you see is a lot of white people. And I love white people. I'm not dissing them at all when I talk about them going to swinger parties. But the thing is, Black people don't get comfortable around a shitload of naked white people. Like, I don't care how friendly you are or how friendly the atmosphere are, Black people are not going to get comfortable. Plus they move different than we do.
And explain that difference.
So, you go to a white swinger party, it starts at 9:00. They'll arrive like at 9:30, right? They'll probably talk amongst their peers and get some food, but by 11:30, 12 o'clock, they up there, they doing their thing, right? About 2 o'clock, they all out the door. Now, our people, party starts at 9 o'clock. We don't show up until 11. We need to go get some food first because we a little hungry, but now we need to talk to our people. We need to, see the scene, smoke like 1 or 2 times, go back, see the scene some more. Then we got to eat again. And then probably by 12:30, 1 o'clock, now we upstairs. But once we done upstairs, what we got to do? Go back downstairs, get some more food, chill with our friends again, look around, then go back upstairs. By that time, it's 3 o'clock. We're not leaving until about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning.
Well, they have a head start when it comes to swinging, at least modern lifestyle swinging. So, and plus, Black people, we have certain hanger-ups. Or hang-ups, excuse me. We have certain hang-ups that we still have to address that's not addressed often, and because a lot of people use the lifestyle for coping mechanisms. Some people fuck their pain away, drink their pain away, smoke their pain away, party their pain away. You feel me? And depending on how the person is triggered, either there's going to be heaven or hell on earth. So in your group, how do you manage those personalities? Because sometimes the conversations could get heated, but I like how you put everything in perspective. You know what I'm saying? So people won't catch feelings, because me personally, if it doesn't apply to me, I'm just gonna scroll by. Like I don't give people the satisfaction to get me out my element, especially on social media. You feel me? So how do you I wouldn't say micromanage, because it seemed like how do you moderate? Yes, moderate. How do you moderate discussions in your group?
So the thing is, you have to realize that there's no such thing as right or wrong. no matter what we say, what we do, there's things where there's majority right and then there's majority wrong, right? But there's no true definition of right or wrong, because based on perspectives, one same situation could be right to another perspective and wrong to the next. And so knowing that, it's kind of the reason why people always get offended or up in arms about things that they read, because when you're passionate about what your perspective is without understanding another person's perspective, in most cases, they are always going to feel attacked. And it's a shame. There's nothing that we can do to fix it, but I have to realize that that's just the way life is. And so I usually, when I see heated debates, or if I see someone post something really heated, I just wait. I wait for a minute, because I wait to see the judgmental posts and comments and everything else. And then I kind of read through it and be like, okay, hey y'all. Okay, based on what y'all saying, let's just point out a few things. And then kind of just saying, I'm saying this with love. Then I'll just post my comments below and people will have a conversation. And you kind of just got to guide the conversation, because you got to remind people, listen, it's just a conversation. It's just a person's perspective. And a lot of times I try to tell people the Office E.N.T is a great place to go to when you want to look at what red flags look like. like if you think about it, like we bring in so many newbies and everyone I myself was a major red flag when I started off in the lifestyle. My mindset waved red flags everywhere, right? It took a while for me to become more knowledgeable and someone to teach me, and for me to have life lessons and experience for me to say, okay, cool, now I have a different understanding of everything. Then that red flag turned to green. But when you see these new people come in, or if you see people who's been in forever, but they have an old mindset, certain questions will bring out these red flag remarks that would make you look and just be like, good to know when I have a conversation with a complete stranger, because when they say some shit like this, I know that's the people not to talk to.
Speaking of copacetic, you have a book under the nom de plume, Mr. Copacetic. It's called Citizen Death of a Hero.
Yes.
And you dropped that in what year?
Ooh, I can't even remember now.
I'm gonna say it. It says coming soon 2019. Coming soon 2019.
Okay. Yes. Thank you for helping me with that. Wow, that was 19. So yes, Citizen Death of a Hero is about a superhero from Chicago that charges people to save him. And he's having a sexual relationship with the villain. And they both have a child. And the child's whole idea is he wants to take care of his father and take him out of the picture because he's tired of his father saving people.
And ladies and gentlemen, that's a book. That's a novel. That's a novel.
Yes. So this superhero, like there'll be a time where someone's about to die, and he'll appear, he'll pause everything, and they'll be like, "Please help me," asking for help, and he'll be like, "Okay, well, how much is your life worth to you?" And then based on the person's answer, depends on if he saves them or not. But don't worry, he saves kids for free. He don't ask them no question. He just saves kids.
Yo, you know what's crazy? I'm looking at your Amazon page, and I know Carla Dean. I met her at the Harlem Book Fair years ago.
Oh yes.
Yeah, that's your editors. Shout out to Carla Dean. I know she's originally from DC, but she moved to Ohio right now. So how did you hook up with Carla Dean? This is a small world.
Facebook and networking. I like to do my research when I work with people. I like to see exactly how far their reach are and what type of wisdom they could bring to a project that I'm trying to create. And Carla was an amazing person to work with, because especially that was my very first book that I published. Oh, she helped me through a lot. So definitely shouts out to her for helping me publish my very first book.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, go to Amazon and check out Mr. Copacetic. That's Mr. Mr. and Copacetic, COPACETIE. I mean, shit, I can't even spell. COPACETIC. Let me get that right before motherfuckers think I'm dumb. That's MR. No. I got to get it right. I felt that. But sometimes you know how you be writing so much, and then you look at the word "the," and you be like, "Is that really how you spell that?" Yo, I got to share a story. So I'm originally from the North Side. of Chicago, and I went to. Now I ain't going to say what elementary school I went to for the nosy motherfuckers out there. But anyway, I was in kindergarten, and my sister was in 8th grade at the time, and she wanted the spelling bee. And you know, the teachers, they would have the upperclassmen watch over us while they went on lunch break. So when my sister won the spelling bee, you know, you win the spelling bee in your grade level, and then you compete with everybody when all the top spellers in every grade level. And when she won the spelling bee school wide, her friends who was watching over us for lunch was like, yo, your sister won the spelling bee. Your sister won the spelling bee. So I'm like, damn, she getting props for that. I'm gonna try my hand at spelling. So I was one of the finalists for my class to represent us at the spelling bee on stage. And I was the first one to get on stage and the first one to leave. Because the presenter was like, spell 8, and Sam ate the food, but I was so I was so shell shocked that I couldn't get the words out. So I was the first one to get up there, first one to sit down. That was like one of the most embarrassing moments in my life, but it is what it is. But anyway, the name of the novel is Citizen: Death of a Hero by Mr. Copacetic. That's Mr. That's Mr. Copacetic, Copacetic. I gotta get it right.
I felt that.
I gotta get it right, and it's dropped. You got paperback and Kindle.
Absolutely, I got 2 books out, and both of them's on Kindle.
Oh, what's the other joint?
My other book is called A Beautiful Life, A Journey to the Real You. And it's basically like a step-by-step guide on how to accomplish your life goals and how to create consistent confidence within your life.
Yeah, and that dropped the year later, 2020,
yes, it did.
During the pandemic.
Yes. That was during my journey of going into my life coaching and learning what I wanted to coach people in, and I knew confidence was there, but love is what struck me the most. You know.
And once again, I got to spell it out for you. That's Mr. Copacetic. That's MR dot space, not the word space, but the space between words. So that's MO dot space COPACETIC. I'm gonna say that again, one more again until you motherfuckers get tired of me. That's Mr. Copacetic, MR. That's Mr. Then you got Copacetic, COPACETIC. I'm gonna make that into a rap song.
I felt that, but you could just put that in the description. You could just put that in the description where they can find it. They'd be like, oh, great.
But you know, motherfuckers don't read the description, so I gotta say it what it can hit me. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. Because when I post parties and I put a whole description out of the party with the flyer, they still hit me up and ask me questions. That's in the description.
Yeah, because my ex was like, you know, when we used to host parties together, she told this one chick, she was like, please don't disrespect me. It's like everything you need to know is in the description. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
What was your most interesting outcome from hosting an event?
Well, I was more so. Well, I was more so the co-host. Like I'm okay. I don't have a problem with being Tito. I don't have a problem with being Ringo. I don't have a problem with being Paul McCartney. I don't have a problem with being, you know, Harrison. I don't have a problem with being Tito or Jermaine. Like as long as you're Michael and fucking what's his name, John Lennon. As long as you're a capable leader, I don't have a problem with playing the background. So I'm a better promoter than a host.
Okay.
Like I would promote the hell out of your event, you know. So because my ex, she lived in Maryland at the time, so I would bring a lot of New York, New Jersey heads and Philly heads to our event. So I was the liaison between Maryland, DC, and Philly, New York, and New Jersey. Okay. You know, so I like to promote. I don't do the hosting. I like to fuck too much, so I don't got time to be hosting. I like
because I cannot People be like, "Do you play at your parties?" And I'm like, "Nah, man, I don't play at my parties. If you want to catch me playing at my party, you gotta catch me at the tail end of it, when like almost everybody home, and it's only like maybe 7 or 12 of us left. Yeah, now at that moment, I can relax. I can finally be like, all right, I can get out of work mode. I can chill. I can enjoy the rest of this. But
So
during the moment, nah.
So how long have you been hosting events?
Unofficially, I've been hosting events for 3.5 years. But I first started off because there's this group in Chicago called Exclusive Lounge, and they used to host these pool parties down the street from me. And so I used to ask her, "Hey, let me host the after party at my house, since my house was big enough for it." She was like, "Sure." So that kind of started it. And then after I learned my lesson from a lot of things, like keeping doors locked that should be locked, I started to venture out on my own of trying to start my own events and seeing how that go, and how to keep a great crowd, and building a great atmosphere. So it was a lot of fun. That was one of the things. Like, in order to host these events, like, you gotta love it. Like, love it. You can't be getting into this thinking that you're gonna make money, because this isn't a business. Running swinger parties, you're not making money off of that. You make money off the other things. This is something that you more do because you love it. Now, when you start talking about doing events where you going out of town and stuff like that, or you doing hotel takeovers, different story, yes. But starting off, talking about, I'm about to start hosting these events to try to make some money. If your money is your focus, you're not going to do well. Especially because you have to give an experience to these people, and it's hard to give a great experience if all you focused on the events is, let me make some money.
Yeah, it's kind of like podcasting. They got this term called pod fade, where somebody want to start a podcast, and when they don't get the numbers that they envision or even the revenue, they stop podcasting. It has to be a labor of love. Like, most podcasts don't last for 5 episodes. Like, the average podcast lasts for 25 episodes. You know what I'm saying? I'm 600 episodes deep with no sleep and still counting.
Hey.
So it's a grind, baby. It's a grind and hustle.
Yes.
But fuck all that. So it's like, what did you learn? What did you learn the most from hosting events? Because your group is growing.
Mm-hmm. The one thing that I learned the most is, don't ignore the people that's by themselves. The ones, and when I say by themselves, I'm not talking about that one solo person that sits in the corner. No. I'm talking about the couple. I'm talking about the few 5 or 6 friends that may know each other, but they're sitting in a corner by themselves. Those are the by themselves people. Those are the people I like to focus on, because it's really hard to take away that cliquism out of a group when you throw an event. And so when you have people come in who are new, you don't want them to think, oh, this is cliquish, no one's talking to me, especially because that's one of the biggest fears for most people. Most people's biggest fear is talking to new people, introducing themselves, because they're so afraid of rejection. And so the one thing that I've learned the most is how to properly get people to communicate and to be free and open up to other people, because without that, you miss that experience. Because now people aren't comfortable enough to want to be free. But when you can make them feel like the atmosphere is there, yes, most definitely one of the best things that I've learned. Especially because running these helps me become better with communicating with people.
What part of Chicago you from?
South suburbs, actually. I never claimed Chicago. I always claim the South suburbs. People be like, what part of Chicago are you from? And I'm like, Riverdale. They're like, what's that? It's the South suburbs. It's like Chicago's little cousin.
Wait, don't get it fucked up. Riverdale is hood. You know what I'm saying? Like,
listen, I'm not gonna lie to you on that, because Eldale Gardens was right down the street.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the border. You was on, if you live by Argyle Gardens, then you lived on the border.
Oh yes, absolutely. Because I used to go to Aldale Gardens to get my hair cut a lot, but still, I don't claim Chicago because I don't have the right to. I went to school in Hazel Crest, and I went to school in Harvey. So I haven't even touched down in the city of Chicago.
Listen, Hazelcrest. That's shit. That's baby Chicago. Like that's a lot of people from the South Side. When they get a little bit of money, they move to Hazelcrest and Thornwood. It's Thorndale, right, or Thornwood?
Thornton.
Thornton. Yeah, Thornton. You have Thornton. You have Hazelcrest. You got Riverdale. You got Robbins.
Yes.
You got Madison.
Okay, yeah. He naming all the south suburbs, y'all. He naming all, and what's so interesting is that's where most of our people do migrate to. It's definitely to them south suburbs, boy. Yeah, let me go out there.
Yeah, you got Dalton.
Oh, yeah. Now Dalton is Chicago little sister. I don't care what nobody says.
Yeah, it's
that's
kind of
Chicago little sister right there.
Yeah, but I'm mainly it's a meme. I'm gonna post it in your group, but it's a meme that says, this is Chicago. Not here, not here, not here, not here. When people say they from Chicago, I'm like, so where you from? Oh, Evanston. Where you from? Maywood. Where you from? Cicero. It's like that's not Chicago. But
no, that's like I was about to say that's like when people visit Chicago. I'm like, I've been in Chicago for like a whole week. Where at? Oh, I was in Arlington Heights.
They was in Oak Park and Schaumburg and shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Naperville.
Yeah, Naperville and shit. But I went to high school in Naperville. You know what I'm saying? And they trying to. I was born and raised in Chicago, but my folks moved out to Naperville. When you get a little bit of money, you want to move to the suburbs. But I spent my summers in the city, so I still had the best of both worlds. And it's crazy because at one point Chicago was the murder capital in certain parts of the 90s, and Naperville, it was considered the most safest town in the United States, and they're 40 minutes apart.
Yeah.
So you have the safest. Wild. Yeah, it's 40 minutes apart. So you have the safest town in the country, Naperville, Illinois, and you got the murder capital of the world. Of the United States, Chicago. And that was like a culture clash for me. Anywho, so I fucks with you because you're proud of where you're from. You know what I'm saying? Most people say, well, I'm from Chicago and they from the suburbs, and there's nothing wrong with that. But be happy, claim where you're from. It's like be proud of where you're from, because if you forget where you're from, you don't know where you're headed. You feel me?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And what made and speaking of which, what made you bridge the gap between the newbies and the veterans? Because there's kind of I want to say a beef, but that's kind of dissension. The newbies think that the veterans are stubborn, and the veterans think that the newbies don't know any better, and they're rebellious and they don't want to learn. They're hard-headed. So how do you bring that mix, that mix that makes gumbo? You know what I'm saying? That mix that make gumbo to where everybody living, party in harmony, even if they don't fuck with each other, because everybody at a lifestyle party, they're not gonna rock with each other. But how do you bring that happy medium between the vets and the newbies through education and through your group in general?
Well, here's the thing about newbies. As much as vets love to complain about them, right? Because they do, and they have the right to complain about newbies, because I get it, because newbies do be messing up at times. But veterans love newbies, because eventually when you go to a party so much and always see the same people, you know what happens when you see fresh meat. When you see that new woman walking through the party thick as hell, and you looking around like, wait, I ain't never seen her before. Hold on. Where you coming from, girl? Is this your first time here? Do you come here often? They be on her like a pack of wolves, don't they? On her like a pack of wolves. And so that is always going to be there. That need to be able to see new people, to see fresh blood. It's the reason why so many people travel to go to different places, to swinger clubs, because they want to see fresh perspective. They want to see new people. They want to see something different than what they see around them. And so for the vets, we provide that with the newbies. But what we do is we try to make sure that we we educate, and we give adequate understanding to the newbies, and we make them feel comfortable. We don't promote the idea that coming to our event means you're gonna have sex. We make sure we don't promote that at any of our events. So anytime I have an event, I always tell people, if your sole purpose for coming to our event is so you can have sex, go find somewhere else to go, because it might not happen, and I don't want you to be disappointed. So stay home if that's your reason. Now, are you gonna have a great time? Fuck yeah, you're gonna have a great time. You're gonna enjoy yourself. But doing that gives the newbies the atmosphere that they don't have to feel pressured. And then the veterans understand the atmosphere that's being created. So it allows them to just really just learn to be friends with people, make friends, get comfortable. And then through that atmosphere that you create, eventually you're going to start to see them flourish together. They're going to be like, hey, we're having an amazing time.
Do you come across dudes who show passive aggressive hate, or what I call sophisticated hate, meaning that, you know, they want to challenge your knowledge, wisdom, and understanding because they see you as the pinnacle in the lifestyle or in your particular group? Because I get it sometimes. Like, they see I'm an author, I'm a podcaster, so they see me as Bruce Lee, and they want to challenge me in a subtle way. Do you get that sometimes, whether it's in your group, on your live, or on your page?
I actually don't pay attention to that.
That's what's up.
I'm gonna really be honest with you, because for one, I love what I do, so nothing bothers me. For two, someone's always not gonna like you. So if I care too much on that, I'm caring on the wrong things in life anyway. And then for three, there's always gonna be someone who has that mindset, and usually it's because of post-traumatic stress from whatever they went through with dudes in the past, because most men have PTSD with men, and they just don't want to admit that, and they want to, for whatever reason, for however they may feel, they're gonna feel it. There's nothing I can do to change their perspective. The only thing I can do is just continue being me and making sure that I surround myself with people who enjoy that. And if they don't, I always give you the option to find somewhere else to go.
And what's admirable about your newbie nights is that even me growing up, it's like the old heads, they always saw me as competition. It's like, instead of putting me under the wing and teaching me something worthwhile and that has substance, why are you trying to compete with me? And I think that it's beautiful that you being in a lifestyle for, you know, multiple years, that you're extending your doors to newbies instead of seeing them as competition. You know, it's not necessarily putting them under your wing per se, but it's telling them, yo, you know, I'm for you, I'm not against you. You know what I'm saying?
I would say there is there really competition when there's 8 billion people on this planet? Like really think about that. Like, especially when we talk about parties, we talk about events. Like, when I first came into the lifestyle, that was the one thing that I always noticed that was the issue, is that, and that was one of the reasons why it was so hard for Black swinger organizations to even grow, because everybody wanted to be so competitive. Oh, don't add your people to my group, or don't pull my people from my group to your group. You can't post your events here. I'm not going to post your events. And so it closed people off. And it always just confused me, because I was like, that's not the way that things really should be done. There is no competition. It's just different experiences. Just like different, for people who create different parties promote on the same radio station, so can us on the same platform. And so that was the one thing I made sure I did with the office when I first started, is that I started sharing everybody's events before I even had my own. And I was adding people, and I was spending advertising money to pull people in that wasn't even in other people's groups. But I still made sure to show everyone's events, even some of the new people that come in who wants to start their own parties. I support it. I'd be like, hey, just don't mess it up. Like, don't mess up what swinger parties is. If you need help and assistance, come talk to me. I'll even give you some tips to make sure you're a little successful. Because at the end of the day, there is no competition. It's just different experiences. And we do a lot better when we work together. If all we're gonna do is see each other as competition, how we gonna see each other as actual, like, how am I gonna see you as my customer if I also see you as my competition? That makes no sense.
What do you think about the lifestyle umbrella that consists of polyamory, BDSM, and swinging, and other alternative lifestyles? Because you have people who are for it, and you have people who are say, "Yo, fuck that. There's no umbrella." Because you have people who are into BDSM, hard body, and they want nothing to do with swingers. You have poly. You have people who are in the poly community. They want nothing to do with swingers. You have people who are to BDSM. They want nothing to do with poly. But at the same time, you have people who are associated with those three subcultures. You understand me? So it's like the changing of the guard. You have the old guard and the new guard. The old guard is like, fuck that, we are our own entity. But then you have the new guard who's like, yo, we an umbrella. So what is your thoughts about this lifestyle umbrella?
Okay, so
and what does it and what does that umbrella consist of? Go and break it down.
Because this question always like rattle my snakes and grind my gears a little bit, because even though labels are amazing for definition, they're terrible to tell someone to live by, right? Because you don't have to always be one thing. You don't have to always be only one thing. You can be a plethora, or you can be solely one, and you can just define yourself as that. But we change every 4 to 5 years anyway. And so based on all the things I've learned now, all the things that I go through, it doesn't mean that that's going to be my same standpoint 5 years from now. I may have a different idea of what I want or what makes me happy.
Listen, in theory, because you have a lot of motherfuckers who are living in their second childhood. So they have arrested development. So, but I agree with what you said, because I don't think the same as I did 5 years ago. Like 10 years ago, when I first came into the lifestyle, I was fiery. Like I was, my name on Facebook was Controversial Wavy, because I would always post controversial topics. I would always debate people. I was a straight savage. But as I've gotten older, I just scroll past. Like I don't have the energy to go back and forth with people online. I say what I say. I give people a 2 response minimum. After that, I'm gonna chuck up the deuce, or I'm gonna give you an I hear you and keep it moving. I hear you. I'm not gonna go back and forth with you. Or if the conversation is stimulating, I'm gonna carry on. But for the most part, I have no patience, or I don't have the time to go back and forth with people. And with that said, I noticed in your group that you engage with the audience. You're not sitting on your proverbial ivory tower. You actually, shake hands and kiss babies. You mix and mingle with your group members. So how do you straddle the fence between, not necessarily offending people, and how do you straddle the fence between being a group owner to stating your opinion? Because sometimes we living in a cancel culture where people will cancel you over the smallest things. And that's why I'm not a group owner, because I can't play politics. You feel me? So how do you keep things in perspective while staying true to yourself but not turning off your members?
I have to be humble and remind myself that I am on a journey just like everyone that's in the group. And just because I'm a poly coach, it doesn't mean that I know everything and that I've achieved everything. And so we're all in this journey together. I created this platform not just for me to teach other people, but for me to hear other people's perspectives so I can also learn something. And I make sure that when I do add people, I don't look at them as if, I know more than you and I can just help you be the best that you can be. No, some of the people I add, they know a lot more about this lifestyle than I have. They have more years of experience and they're just trying to get somewhere. And so when we post certain statuses and they share their perspectives, I could read it and be like, never seen it through that perspective, but I get it. So I always make sure, because of course when you give a product, you must be able to enjoy the product that you provide to people. And so the Office E.N.T is not just a product for everyone else, it's also a product for myself.
So speak about your mission statement or the message you're striving to convey as a poly coach, as a love coach, as a dating coach, as a life coach. Let's speak about your lives and your 1-2, your swag. So talk about the message that you convey and your lives and your groups. Let's talk about you as a poly coach. Let's talk about that side of the game. So break it down.
Monogamy is not the only way to make you happy, and your partner isn't the reason for your happiness and is not responsible for your happiness. I'm gonna repeat that again. You are not responsible for your partner's happiness, and your partner is not responsible for your happiness. And we have to start there, because before you can ever get yourself into a successful relationship, you have to be able to sustain your own happiness with yourself. You have to learn how to do that for yourself, because think about it, it already takes so much work for you to keep yourself happy. Why would you then rely on someone else to help put in the extra weight when they got to do it for themselves?
Yeah, right? I'm like, yo, I'm not here to heal you. I'm here to be your rock, and I'm here to be your peace. I don't want a better. I don't want a better half. I want a whole. Anyway.
Yeah. And so, what I tell clients, when I tell people that want to work with me, is I say, before you can, because a lot of people will come into the scene saying, I'm looking for my 2 queens, or I'm looking for my couple, or I'm looking for everything at once. Slow down. Focus on just one person. And that first person has to be yourself, and understand the love of yourself. Take yourself out on dates. Take yourself out on vacations. Learn to love you and to enjoy you, because the first thing we need to work on is taking care of the insecurities. Without taking care of the insecurities, there's no way in hell you are going to have a successful relationship. Not even talking about poly. We're talking about one-on-one with another person. Until you can get rid of those insecurities, and trust me, I know how to help you get rid of that. But until you can get rid of those insecurities, there's no way in hell that you can have a successful relationship. And so that's why the most important relationship, the first form, is with yourself. And then the second thing is to find your partner, not your wife or husband. I'm going to repeat that again. Find your partner, not your wife or husband. Because your wife or husband, that's old school term. That's the 1800s, 1700s. That's find you someone that you can live this miserable life with together so that y'all can survive. Because right now, there ain't shit else you can do anyway. We don't live in that time no more. We have more opportunities. We have more things that we can achieve. So when you start talking about what does my partner look like? Now we're talking about what is it that you want your life to look like, not what you think your life can look like. Don't tell me, okay, I want to graduate with my master's and work this job making $60 a year. That's not what you want to do. That's what you think you can do, because that's what you think that you can achieve. But no, what is it that you actually want to achieve in life? Where do you want to go? What does that look like to you? What does vacations look like to you? Because then we can start talking about what does that partner look like that's going to not help you achieve it, help you motivate to get there. Be that partner that is actually working on the same similar goals, so that way you can get that together. Because we can't just be looking for someone for love, because love isn't enough, right? So now that you found this partner, because stop looking for 2 people at the same time. It makes no sense. Find your partner number 1. And once you find your partner number 1, y'all need to get comfortable with each other. I get it. You want to go hurry up and find your third and have threesomes. And I get it. That's fun. But that's not what you're trying to do right now. What you want to do right now is you want to go have threesomes without looking for serious relationships, because y'all need to learn how you interact with just having another person, period. Don't be looking for a serious relationship the first time. It's just like when you was looking for your serious relationship with the one-on-ones. You had a few flings, you got to know some few people, Y'all became friends, and eventually you was like, okay, I really know what I'm looking for. Let me go actually seriously date. And so when you talk about looking for a third, don't be out there talking about some, let's go find our third right now. No, because y'all don't even know what the fuck y'all like. Y'all don't even know what you like each other. You don't know what your partner even wants. We haven't even talked about the boundaries of what this third person look like. Because first of all, we talked about finding a partner, right? Don't think that just because this third is a third, it's also not a partner. What are they contributing to the mission? Are they just here to give us booty? Because if that's the case, we can get more booty going on vacation. It is so easy to have a threesome on vacation. All you gotta do is tell people you're not from the area, and they be like, "Really? Y'all are such a cute couple." Dang, got him. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Be like, got him.
Got him. So when we talking about looking for a serious relationship and trying to get into a poly relationship, we have to take that aspect of, oh, let me just find someone who, we find attractive. No. Y'all need to just date bullshit, and just date just to get to know what you like and don't like together. And sometimes y'all need to date separately and stop forcing people on you as a couple. Oh my God, that's annoying. When y'all be on dating apps, the women do it the most, because my fiance runs into this a lot. She'll be on a dating app and she'll run into a woman, and the woman be like, hey, what's up? And my fiance be like, trying to go out on a date with women. And they be like, oh, well, if you want to go out, me and my husband, cool. Well, okay, my fiance be like, well, what's up with just me and you dating? Oh no, we're full, full package. Here's the problem though. Sometimes the men aren't attractive to the woman. It's just you as the woman that's attractive to the woman. So with you forcing your man, who she's not attracted to now, maybe if she gets to know him, would be attracted to him. But if you just focused on, okay, you know what? Let me just date this woman and see what she about before I introduce her to my man. Because I can tell you, I usually date women first before I introduce them to my woman. I don't just find a woman and be like, ooh, you look nice. Let me just introduce you to her. Because I already know my woman. She got like a 10-tier process of who she likes and don't like. And I had to learn that from dating bullshit with her. Just to be like, all right, let's go out on some bullshit dates. Let's get to meet people, get to know people, so we can go back home and talk about it. Because then that's the time when she's like, I didn't like that, but I did like that. I do look for this, but why do I keep running into this? Those conversations are great because now it helps you understand and train your mind and say, I know what my partner wants. Now, y'all are ready to say, okay, now we know our boundary rules. Now we know what's going to fit. Now we can go look for our third. And now you can start that process and finding someone that you want to add, and just be serious from the very beginning of what you're looking for and what's the expectations. And then just like how you would have the 3-month check-ins with your partner, you got to do the same thing with your third. Because here's the thing that destroys most poly relationships is that the couple still acts like a us towards the third. Mm-hmm. And you can't do that. You can't do that no more. You have to take that mindset out. I get it. Y'all are the leaders in your mind. But think of the mindset of this third who's going to always feel like a guest in a relationship. If there's always a us, and a her. Mm-hmm. Versus there is no us and a her. It is a all of us.
It's we.
We, right? Let's start talking to each other. Let's all three of us have a day where we can talk to each other about our feelings, our emotions, and pointers.
Sure, you better be French. It's we, Mo. It's we.
I felt right. French. Like we.
Yeah. So, what advice would you give couples who are looking for not only a third? They may be looking for another couple to date. They may have like they may go on a couple's date. They may want a community, whether whether it's another couple or a tribe. So what advice would you give couples who are either looking for a third or for a tribe or both?
Make sure you first have a great relationship without insecurities together. Most important, do not come out here looking for a third or looking for another couple and y'all still got drama. Y'all still arguing. You don't know how to have proper communication. Y'all break up every 3 months and get back together. All that toxic shit, make sure that's out the window. Please. Don't waste no one else's time. Don't because we trying to play Monopoly and we trying to pass go and collect $16,000 and we supposed to be in jail 6 days ago because we can't get past step 1 of our relationship. Also, make sure your own relationship have a plan past love and kids. What else are you trying to do? What else are you trying to incorporate? Because you need to know what the third or what the quad or what the community, what you need from them to help all of you see this vision come to plan. For you to be able to explain to someone exactly what you want in your life. So that way someone can make the decision and be like, I want that too. And then be upfront from the very beginning.
Yeah, because when I go into these poly groups, it's not really about building. It's about, I understand that dating or court, they don't even talk about courting. It's about attraction. It's on a carnal level. I rarely see questions about, okay, when you get in a relationship with, when you get in a poly relationship with somebody or with a couple, what about the children? What about the medical history? What about the finances? What about the employment, the salaries, the family? Is your family compatible to mine? Your mental health, my mental health. It's all on the conversation is on a surface level. You understand me? So rarely do I see conversations about, real life stuff. It just
now. I will include 2 things. One thing I will add, because I've seen it time and time again, always help. And the second one is just a shameless plugger. But always
no. You gotta. There's no shameless plug. Talk your shit. This is your show. I felt that. This is your world, baby. Keep going.
You're funny. The first thing I'm gonna say is that having a therapist helps. 100%. Having a therapist helps. I have therapy. I go to therapy almost every other week, especially if I'm going through something serious in my life. But when I'm going through a transition in relationships, or when I'm trying to learn how to deal with what I'm coping with, I need someone who has a different perspective of myself, who is trained to guide me without being biased, and who can actually understand what I'm trying to explain and be the professional ear that I need. Because we can't just treat our friends as therapists. They're too biased. And so I will say the one thing, especially I'll speak for myself and I'll speak for some people who I've worked with personally, therapy helps. It really does. And you got to shop for your therapist like you got to shop for the great place to get your hair cut and your hair done. It's not the first person might not be the best one, but find someone who is comfortable, someone who help guide you through it. Because I'm telling you, with a relationship and trying to deal with your insecurities, there is no one-step solution to being in a successful poly relationship. You need assistance. You need someone that you could talk to help guide you through your emotions. And then the second thing, find you a poly coach. Find you someone who already have the experience in it, who can help guide you, who can tell you about their experiences and actually help you find and understand what your real poly goals are. Both of those go hand in hand. One helps with the trauma of understanding what you look for and what you're going through. The other one helps you see the futures of your goal. But that's what I wanted to share.
And where can anybody find you?
Find me
on the internet.
So to find me is really easy. Just go to www.theofficeent.com. That's it. That's all you gotta do. Go to theofficeent.com. You can find me. You can look us up on all social media platforms: Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Just look up The Office E.N.T. That's it.
Shit. My man got an official website. It is not like you got to put like a bunch of words in front of the. No. It's not www.abracadabra.com/yippee//Office E.N.T. My man said www.officeent.com, correct?
The Office.
I'm
E.N.T.
sorry.
No, you good. You good. You good. www.theofficeent.com. No dots, just theofficeent.com. SwingTalk.com. You'll be able to find our website. And then also, if you become a monthly subscriber to the website, which is only $10, it gives you $20 off all events, and it gives you 37% off of my coaching services. So regularly, my coaching services is $200 per session. If you are a monthly member to the website, it's only $75 per session.
Yes, and that's THE, the correct, not THA, not DA, not DAH. That's the Office E.N.T.com. You dig?
Absolutely.
You dig. And on that note, this has been another episode of Swingers After Dark, and this is your host, Nasun, baby. Check out my website at www.nasunblaze.com. That's www.nahsunblaze.com, and check out my ebook, Fuck. Yes, you heard right, Fuck. F-U-C-K. It's on Nook, Kindle, iBooks, Google Play. Go get it. It'll make you say, ow. And shoot me an email at swingpodcast@gmail.com. That's swingpodcast@gmail.com. Hit me up with any question or concerns that you may have. Rate, share, subscribe, and comment on this podcast. Dig. And on that note, until next time, peace. And don't forget to hit up www.theofficeent.com. You know.